towels, a pillowcase, a t-shirt of Greg's, and a pajama shirt of Addie's that Freddie holds to her face for a second. She looks longingly at Greg's shirt, the collar frayed, but she thinks of Addie, who doesn't know anything about this. Addie, who thinks a bad day is when Curious George isn't on. She feels a swelling in her throat when she thinks of her tiny daughter, but shakes her head, clearing the thought. But this little pajama shirt with the horses on it bothers her. It's too brazen in its innocence. Horses without bridles, meadow flowers, small squiggles of clouds and birds in the sky. Whoever made this shirt must think nothing bad can happen to anyone. It's not fair. She looks around and sees the bananas she bought on the way home from work yesterday. The green has just vanished, and they sit in front of the subway tile backsplash. The contrast of bright yellow against white stuns her. She used to write about beautiful things, mountains, old red bridges, fields of geese. On the refrigerator, Addie's drawing of a pumpkin with trailing vines and a thick stem. Freddie sees Greg's appointment card and she straightens it. October 17th. 1 week away. She doesn't think she can wait a week, but then she wishes 7 days would last forever. Greg. Her Ken doll, she always called him. Greg. Still real, still sleeping upstairs in their bed. Nothing has happened. Wizard waits at the door to come back in, and she wonders for a moment if Mrs. Crowley could get by without her today. But there are those bridesmaids' dresses, 5 of them in that awful paisley print, and that miserable Bob Vines, who owns the Regent Theater in town, wants his pants ready for pickup tomorrow. Now isn't the time to call in sick. Even if a sick day meant the walk with Wizard, the undisturbed yoga, the newly hatched plan to pick Addie up from school early and go to Shake Superior, Connecticut's newest restaurant chain, for a midday burger and fries, convincing Greg to meet them afterward, could all happen. Maybe they could go to Woodson Park and watch the Kite Club, the group of retired men who meet there to fly box kites. They could even drive to the farm with the donkeys and buy gourds and cider. There's a whole world out there, in their small city of Wharton and beyond, that they miss every day. She crosses her arms. She wishes it would rain. A rainy day would make it easier to call into work and say she's not coming. Her mother always loved the rain. She would sit in the small kitchen with the cherry tablecloth and smile hopefully at Freddie's father, a farmer, who would look out the window, shrug, and sit beside her, his knee touching her knee. A cozy day, her mother would say, and it would be. They'd read the paper and later he'd watch The Price is Right while she did needlepoint in the living room. No point in working in this, her dad would say, and the fire would swell in the stone fireplace, and their grandfather clock would chime, while outside the rain coated the fields of alfalfa, the tool shed. She would give anything to stay home today, to have one of her parents' rain days. She planned to write full-time when Addie started school. Now with Addie in first grade, Freddie finally has the day to herself. She meant to write after the conference in Vermont a couple of years ago with Lance Gray, the famous poet. "You see things," Lance said in that session. He pointed right at her. Others had told her she was perceptive. Such a caring, sensitive girl, her mother used to say. Freddie expected to make tea every day, get the house together, volunteer in Addie's classroom, to write. She imagined afternoons seeing the school bus turn the corner outside the office window and hitting save on her laptop, sighing a satisfied sigh from another day's work. You see things. But when Mrs. Crowley advertised for a seamstress a few hours a week, Freddie saw the help wanted sign and decided to give it a try. It'll be good to show up somewhere, she said to Greg, who shrugged. She imagined this routine forcing her to make the hours count, that she would get her writing done between dropping Addie off and heading to the cleaners. She feared being unmoored, that the whole day would get away from her. She thought a part-time job would put parameters around her hours, like the lines on a map. Greg loved the writer in her. He would put on his reading glasses and skim over her drafts and nod and smile. He frowned when she told Mrs. Crowley on the phone that she could start the next day. This was in August, when they found some irregularity in his blood work after his physical, and he started to notice some symptoms. Maybe Greg worried she was trying to make money in case he didn't pull through.